here we go. Scream 6. What can I say about Scream 6 other than... Let's try to center myself. Okay, this is what I must say. When I got to the theater, the first thing that happened was that I walked in and no one was there. And I then proceeded to speak aloud a commentary about what I thought of the movie.
I've got my mask. What about you, Jay?
You know it. It sure is going to be one spooky Halloween.
Oh yeah, the people on the news saying they're wearing the mask of an active killer.
So, what's your motive this time? Are you angry at the movies, or are you just trying to stay relevant?
I could ask you the same.
Oh, hell yeah. That's a damn good question for face. The de-aging they try to do on Skeet Ulrich is just... He looks like a wax figure.
Somebody call 911!
No, that's not possible because you woke fuckers don't like the police. Why are they playing the Dewey theme? He's dead. That doesn't make any sense. It was just a list packing on top of itself. The one thing that I can say positively about it is that the brutality of the kills are well done. The stuntman who portrayed Ghostface, great physical acting. But everything else has to mix together. I mean, it's the same analogy as I would use for a soup, an entree. You know, if one bad ingredient is there, or a couple, a few in this case with this movie, the entire dish is destroyed. Even though there are a few positive things I could say about it, the majority is that I reject this dish. I don't like what they prepared. I don't like what they served up. Yeah, at the beginning of the movie, seeing the actor Blaze Flash and Spider-Man kill a person just made me chuckle. Mindy is not worried about being killed in the movie because she used the analogy of how many times does someone get struck by lightning? Does she not recall Sydney having been stalked 4 times? 5 even? When Samantha is in the therapist's office and she literally recounts the events of the last movie, it made me laugh out loud. It becomes a parody. It becomes like one of the scary movies, an entry into the scary movie. It becomes satire.
I know it. It all sounds like some bad movie.
You should not recount verbally the events of what happened in these movies because they're just ridiculous when when you say them out loud. This is the downside of becoming too meta. Okay, so if not the biggest thing that I have an issue with these movies now is that the writing of these characters, they are so fucking obnoxious. They're in the way of them being so snarky and sarcastic to each other. I think one of the downsides to having the Marvel franchise is that it's influenced writing and dialogue in such a way that it becomes detrimental. The way that Robert Downey Jr. can pull off being sarcastic, quippy, arrogant, is he's able to make it charming.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
It's okay?
Okay, go.
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
These characters are not him, so don't even fucking try. But they do. They give the characters so many obnoxious, sardonic dialogue. It's cringy. It's such a turnoff. They all are written to sound the same, and all the actors portray them in the same way. Wow. The mask being distressed is a blatant ripoff of the recent Halloween movies. It's even has streaking veins on the face and the forehead, the same way that Michael Myers' mask does. Yeah. This whole craze about Jenna Ortega being this on-fire actress, I thought she portrayed the character in the situation so poorly. There's hardly a moment of her being stressed out or worried. Again, it goes back to them acting cocky and shit. And when you look back at the previous first films, you see that Sydney is stressed the fuck out. The fact that that happened was a testament to Wes Craven's great direction and Neve Campbell being a good actress. If you were in a situation where you were being stalked by a killer, I don't give a shit if it was your second time. You're still going to be distressed. You're going to be worried. When you're not, then the audience isn't, because the audience has to relate. The characters in the movie are the proxy for the feelings that the audience needs to feel. a big cringe moment when Gail says to Sam and Tara that Sydney sends her love. Sends her love to the daughter of the serial killer who has terrorized her life, and she's only known her for like 5-10 minutes from the last movie. Nope, I don't buy that. Let's compare the timeline for the second movie and this movie for how long it took to make it. The second movie was put out within a year after the first film came out. This one, same amount of time, less than a year. Let's just say that Kevin Williamson did a fucking impressive job, and this movie is the antithesis. The moment when I think I checked out officially from the movie was during the obligatory meta speech of the breakdown of the rules, and I put that in quotes because these rules don't fucking matter. Again, it goes back to the way these characters are written and they're portrayed by these actors. There's an arrogance about them. I don't like any of these characters. I don't care if they die. In fact, I was rooting for them to die. I was rooting for Ghostface. I was on his side. Okay. The thing that I forgot to mention in the last video, what you do with the new characters of the new trilogy is that you don't make them horror movie savvy. You take that information away from them, and then when they're thrown into this instance, this situation with this Ghostface, these old horror movies from back in the day, my parents they were the ones that watched them. They're these old movies that they don't give a shit about. And when they're thrown into this situation, they have to fucking adapt. They have to learn about horror movies. This is part of a character arc. Why are they all talking as if they've graduated with a film degree for horror film studies? It's just like little things like they actually use production stills and headshots on the board at the police precinct. Skeet Ulrich, his character, Billy Loomis, and they have a picture of him doing this. Doing sexy face. With the twist. Oh, look what they did. Look what they did, guys. What did I say in the last video? Have a twist of having a third killer. And I also said the third killer should be Stu Macher, Matthew Lillard. And that he should kill the other two, proclaiming him to be the alpha killer. Now, they didn't do exactly that, but what they did do is they had a wannabe killer at the beginning of this movie and they killed him off. But they do have 3 killers at the end. The actors are doing what they're asked to do. They're portraying the same persona of a wild-eyed, crazy killer, and nobody is differentiated from each other. Why can't they have one actor as the killer at the end of the movie and just be deadpan, without emotion? Someone who doesn't feel anything. Not every killer needs to be Stu Macher. You're not Matthew Lillard, guys. So stop trying to act like him. I think at the top of the list is that our main characters, the protagonists that we're supposed to care about, one of them is actually a psycho. She enjoyed stabbing Dermot Mulroney at the end of the movie, and I sympathized with him. I sympathized with the Ghostface killers. I wanted them to succeed. Actually, I felt empathy to that family getting revenge for Dennis Quaid's son's death. It's the complete opposite of what you should feel. You need to give a shit about the protagonist like you did with Sydney. And obviously she didn't come back. I mean, good for her. She didn't get paid enough? Good for her. Do I think she should come back for the next one? Only for the opening scene. And I think that she should get killed in the opening scene. It should be a homage to the first one with Drew Barrymore getting killed. Kill Sydney off in the next one in the cold open. When I was done watching the movie, I thought to myself, I think that this film is one of the worst movies of this year. I think it's that bad. It's that poorly written. It's that poorly rushed. They didn't even utilize New York City in a way. They didn't shoot in New York City. That's probably why. One of the things that I would have done is have a kill take place on the top of a skyscraper where Ghostface throws somebody off the fucking roof 150 stories downward. the downside of filming in Canada, I believe, or wherever they filmed, is that you cannot do that type of scene because the skyline will reveal itself. So then the question becomes, why the hell did you have it take place in New York City then? If you're not going to shoot there, don't have it take place there. Have it take place in the city that you're actually filming in. They waste the return of Hayden Panettiere's character Kirby. Hayden Panettiere looks like she just got back from Fashion Week in this movie. She's wearing a leather jacket similar to this, but with like studs and all this shit with a zebra print t-shirt underneath. Yeah, I don't think that's regulation uniform for an FBI agent. Whew, okay, Courtney Cox. It is sad seeing Courtney Cox with what she's done to her face. She can no longer act. By way of she can't emote. She can't express anything with her face anymore. It's static. It's solid. It's been injected, stretched, pulled, peeled, whatever. She can't emote anymore. I feel for her. I feel sad because she would have aged just as beautifully as Jennifer Connelly has. Should they bring back Stu Macher? Only if they can write a great movie and they take the time to do it. Because if they do the same thing that they did with this one, where they rush it out within a year, it's just going to have the same result. And it makes me mad that the movie's making money because it's of a lesser quality. It's just like, what are you guys doing? Seriously. These characters are not likable, guys. If you're going to bring Stu Macher, Matthew Lillard back for the next one, and Neve Campbell, I just really hope you guys take the time. I hope that the writers take the time to write a really good movie with characters that you like, that actually can deal with the situation in a proper, realistic way. Now, some people might tell me, I was on the phone, I was talking to one of my buddies about the movie, and his argument was, the movies were never that realistic to begin with. But as I stated, the movies in the first trilogy treated the situations in a dire way. So the characters were already written to act realistically in the situation. Yes, you have Ghostface, he is more or less superhuman. But the characters were reacting to the situation in a way that was believable. And like I said, each ingredient has to be there for the movie to coalesce into something that is enjoyable and to bring you on and experience a horror ride. And this sixth one, I think, is the worst of the franchise. They need to do better. I feel spent after talking about this movie, but it's cathartic because I can just let it all out and let it go and be done with it. I'm gonna have a good movie review come out where I'm talking about movies that I love more often, but occasionally you do have to acknowledge that there are some bad movies out there. There are some bad movies that come out so that you can appreciate the good and great ones. Guys, thank you for watching. Show love to the video, and I'll see you next time.